Okay, so this is just the inside where you're looking at, first of all, different sizes of magnification. This is much smaller, closer to the window that's closed. And this is a lot larger here. And I also want you to see the reason why you engage in this is because it's automatic light activity. So while I'm moving inside of my apartment, light is appearing on my body because it's being shot through like a laser through closed blinds, magnified through the little holes that connect the blinds, and it's magnified at this size. This is the demonic system that Precious Bastillos and her tattooed, riddled boyfriend use children to engage in and participate. And this demented use of light, the demented mind state that is illustrated, it's literally personified through the light conduct. This is what is the mind state and the pattern of conduct that they are engaging in with children. You have children involved in this. All right, so the light activity, the personification of that which is very demented is illustrated. It's really vividly illustrated. You cannot see trees, the shadow of trees, because that's what that is, through what are closed blinds. And there's no sun when it's hovering over me in Fontana, California, for example, or at third-party facilitated venue Starbucks at 706 West Holt. When I documented the light source remaining over me at 4:05 p.m. in Ontario, California, at that Stater Brothers, I went back toward the Ontario town square. I went back toward the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. There's no sun that's going to be not only present here over Building 1818, as you're going to see it as I look out my window, because you can see the light source moved from the end of building 1802. And I even took screenshots so you can see in real time when I stood at my office. It's at the end of building 1802. When I walked down after talking to the group stalkers that are the Matakeens of apartment 1804, number 3, and I showed you what is the absence of that light source. It's clearly moved to the opposite edge of the building. I took screenshots of that so you can see it. The light source, there's no sunlight. Not only because you already know that that's not the sun, but then you're going to juxtapose it with where the light source is present. There's no light activity. The sun is not covering the whole sky such that it's remaining in its zenith. The sun is something that you see in the sky. The entity is engaging in behavior as though the sun is the sky, in other words, so everyone is seeing it everywhere, and that's not the case. And the sun is in constant movement, and so this is the shadow of the trees outside, and the blinds are closed. Okay, so I want you to recognize this is demonic. This is impossible light activity. This is, again, the iteration of what through the blinds and the living room, the entity is rising the sun through my apartment. In alignment to my apartment, and engineered light is reaching into the depths, and then you're seeing layers of light. You can also see multiple shadows in that light. You can see the magnified size of my shadow. It reaches all the way up to the ceiling. You can see the pattern of the blinds as it appears on the ceiling. You can see my shadow that I've documented. You saw that yesterday as I walked in. My shadow was appearing above me. This is speaking to another method of what is demonic, a demonic method of surrounding with engineered light for purposes of creating light activity because I'm subject to surveillance inside of the private space. You saw Precious Bastillos utilizing children. Okay, the criminal facilitation is living at a crime scene where you're with children. You're engaging in the ongoing systematic maintenance and use of children for purposes of federal group stalking and monitoring. You're going to lose custody of your children, and you're going to federal prison where you do that in concert with LAPD. The entity is systematically engaged in group stalking through these corrupt law enforcement agencies. So you're talking about by default you're going to federal prison. This demonic system, this demented conduct, this demented system, they are engaging with malice in your face in video. And this is the demented pattern of conduct that they're employing children in. You can't even see the trees right now. So you're looking at the impossible. Okay. There's no tree. You wouldn't even be able to see a leaf through there, not with the human eye, but you're looking at that magnification of light. This is very demonic, very demonic. Okay. It's absolutely impossible. That's the shadow of the trees outside. Remember this environment because this is where the entity is utilizing their kids, and that's what Precious Bastillos is heavily documented, and Tiffany Sherez heavily documented engaging in. So the light source, again, you're looking at it at necessarily no longer at the end. When I'm standing down there, there's no misperception of depth. And again, we're having this conversation after the entity is maintaining a light source for the duration of a whole day. All right, so under no circumstances is this the sun. It's also not possibly the sun while it's over me at the Fontana Lewis Library. So you're going through the same analysis. It's also not sunlight while you're looking at the shadow of leaves outside appearing through closed blinds. It's appearing through closed blinds. All right, that's demonic. That's the engineered light. This engineered light is serving for what is the malice under which those are present. These are demons that are crossing path over and over and over again, monitoring. Psychopaths, obsessively monitoring, listening to every word that I utter, everything that I'm saying about them, engaging in an ongoing outward demonstration of demon possession, showing a life-threatening level of malice, in the face of what is evidence that they are aware is in existence and is being ongoing, being collected on an ongoing basis against them. Okay, this is speaking to, again, the federal government's response to how you're going to punish the demon possessed that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the U.S. Yes, they go to federal prison. Yes, you remove them from having custody of the minor children with whom they're engaging in this demonic act of terrorism and a sex offense. Yes, you're going to necessarily remove them from the industries, from the fields of work where they're in, where they're capable of waging a threat against people that are unsuspecting. Okay, people that are in the medical field, you're talking about psychopaths who are literally, that condition is a secret because it's invisible. All right, but group stalking is revealing what is the existence of a whole system. All right, and their demonic behavior comes out. The more that I speak to it, you see them act out more. You see them engage in it more. The entity is engaging in what is that which they can't deny. And so they engage in via children, which is what you saw Precious Bastillos engaging in, and doing so in this disturbing system. And she likes to do it with her children. That's very creepy. Okay, that's very creepy. And you're talking about removing such children while she demonstrates openly that she does not care about the ability to keep them, to maybe not involve them while you're living at a crime scene. There's a lot of ways that the people of the state could have reacted to their exposure of being engaged in this system. And this is clearly not the case. You're talking about, in every regard, going 150,000 miles right off the precipice. I mean, straight into the brick wall, having no intention whatsoever by engagement in the pattern of conduct, by criminal facilitation of the pattern of conduct, by repeating that which is outlined there. You're talking about a loss of conscience, a seared conscience. That's a psychopath. Okay, that is surrounded by evidence. That's a delusional psychopath. Okay, that you're talking about a threat not only to the target individual, but to the children that they're in custody of, to the public. And it's not concealed anymore. It's not a secret. You do not have to be an axe murderer with an existing criminal record to be a psychopath. That is a false idea. That's a lie. Okay? The demon possessed are engaging in the behavior of psychopaths, and they're doing it through children. So while you look at this impossible light activity, I want you to remember what they're doing via children. They're engaging in these elements of monitoring via children. They are doing it with knowledge of the fact that those children are going to be put on camera. Okay, you're in every way exposing your child. You're engaged in that criminal act of conduct. You're threatening my life via those children. You definitely, you have in every way put them in the face of danger. So I just want to be clear, and it's not because I'm going to attack, but I want to be clear, when you're targeting an American citizen, one that is perhaps at their wits' end, one that is being tormented on a daily basis, actually, that's a very highly combustible environment and very unpredictable, very chaotic. And that is dangerous to engage in. And so you're exposing your children to that. And this is something that would be falsely depicted on the evening news, like the targeted individual. They're not going to be referred to that. But the targeted individual is somebody that's psychotic, who all the third-party group stalkers in relevant position who are monitoring them are going to create the narrative. Oh, well, they had been losing it for a long time. Oh, we were really worried about them. They were so weird. They were always doing that. That's the false narrative of the entity that's monitoring. When a targeted, and I'm not in any way advocating vigilante justice for just popping off and then just losing it and inflicting your own. I'm not advocating that at all. I'm showing you what you do. I'm showing you how to do it. Okay. But I am saying I can empathize with an ordinary person that is being tormented and perhaps loses it. And then you're going to put your children in harm's way like that, tormenting somebody. And so I just want to be clear, they're doing it. The entity is just like you see them group stalking on video. I'm outside capturing ongoing video documentation of what's the son over Stater Brothers in Ontario, California, direct evidence as to what they're doing here at Alvarado Gardens. And the entity is arriving, and as they do in a plethora of my videos, arriving and group stalking on video for the world to see. I want to be clear, the affect that it would have on the ordinary target individual that doesn't have the evidence, okay, that doesn't have the artillery that I have, okay, but for that, the entity is engaged in that same level of torment, the intent to antagonize, the intent to harass you and try to somehow frustrate whatever purposes that an ordinary person, maybe they might try to report it to some agency that's monitoring anyway, but the entity engages in such acts, just like you see them arriving in my video. They know that they're being documented and they engage in that, and that is going to be to the entity's own demise. But understand that criminal intent to inflict harm, to inflict psychological harm, okay, that's a psychopath, and they do that via children. All of that wicked and demented desire and intent is put behind a child that's used as a means of activity like creation and crossing a path. Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that. And this sick environment that they're including in my private space, this is an admission by the entity. Under no circumstances is it present where the son present over in at the Fontana Lewis Library. Okay, I reminded you again at the same intersection, Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue, from I believe it's 10 o'clock in the morning, about 3:30 in the afternoon, and 6:30 in the evening. Documentation: you're seeing that light source remaining in alignment. Group stalking with light, just like you see here. At no time of day is the sun ever going to be present where the entity is maintaining a light source at the intersection of, well, let me see so you can see that, at the intersection of Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue, where Officer McMillan was documented group stalking at that same intersection at 9 o'clock in the morning. There is no sun that is setting at that same intersection at 6:32 in the evening. All right, I reminded you about that documentation. I uploaded it to the Compare the P.O.C. folder today. And that's the exact same intersection. That's what the entity was doing, stalking with a whole environment. There is no there is no location whereby the entity is operating in the natural environment and you're able to see sunlight while it's setting in alignment to me at the same time frame at Arrow and Sierra Avenue in Fontana, California, and also into the bedroom and through the window, through closed blinds, magnified inside. It's getting ridiculous now. Okay, so you're talking about what is the unmistakable pattern of conduct as I have coined it. And you're talking about what is the admission by the entity. That's how you're treating the directed light. That the admission by the entity, that's how you're treating the light source. It's literally an admission. The entity is engaging in the admission against the people of the state while the entity is group stalking and video after video, picture after picture by the entity, group stalking by police, fire, and ambulance. It's used against the people. It's literally an admission. All right, so I want to be clear. It's currently 5:57 p.m. And as I've been talking after 5 p.m., the video documentation already exists as to the maintenance of the light source in locations entirely distinct from any location present at Alvarado Gardens at 1800 or 1810 North Alvarado Street or 1806, and any vantage point that's diagonally visible through the window or over building 1818 through my bedroom. You can't see any of that. That's remaining at 706 West Hope Boulevard in Ontario, California, while the entity is keeping the light source visible through that window that faces Holt Boulevard, where you see the light source present, and you see engineer light pushing through the windows on the floors, and you see multiple This is all documented. While the entity is setting the light source at the same intersection that it's present there in the morning from 9 a.m. to 6:32 p.m. Yeah, there's no sunlight. And I just want to be clear, the entity uses children. You're removing children from those that are engaging in this sick system. You're removing it. And the people of the state, that's exactly what they are welcoming while they reveal and demonstrate such impunity. So I understand that this were some lengthy discussions, but there were just some things that I wanted to elaborate on. And it's still relevant with regard to the light activity that you're seeing, the impossible light activity, and legally how you're going to treat it. You literally can treat it as an admission. It literally is an admission. Yes, I'm clearly monitoring you because there's no possible way that the sun is anywhere in any location to create any light inside of Erica Spencer's bedroom while it's remaining over 435 South Bonneview in Ontario, California, which is a matter of documentation. That's an admission by the entity that is monitoring. You already know that it's monitoring via the entity acting directly. You're prosecuting the people, and that's how you're going to legally analyze, because that's literally what it's saying. That's the significance of the documentation. It's an admission against the people of the state. The entity is engaging in a group stalking directly, clearly engaging in what is terrorism on its face. They're engaging in terrorism on its face by the entity group stalking by police, fire, and ambulance, and in helicopters. They're doing it in a specific environment. So you're going to prosecute for the co-conspirator, the people of the state, who are not only being treated, everything that's going on is being treated as an emission in the specific environment. And this is the beauty of all that documentation. This is why I give you vivid illustrations. The entities group stalking me by helicopter in Fontana, while at the same time group stalking me in the specific environment. Look at the light activity. Look at the light source. You know what's going on when you see the light source here. The entity is suggesting that the light, the entity is suggesting, oh, that's sunlight, because, and so you know that the light source is there, even if I don't point it out the window and show it to you. You already know what follows. This is an unintelligent illusion. This is an emission to be used against the people. All right. And you're going to apply this. This is going to be understood, and it will be grounds of removal of custody of children, custodial, excuse me, it will be used as a means of removing people from the right to have custody. You don't have right to maintain custody over children who you are exposing to and literally training them up in the harmful and demented and criminal ways of a secret society. Engaging in terrorism in the U.S. No, we're not going to teach the un-American ways of a secret society that wants to target American citizens. No, we're not doing that. So you're going to remove them from these homes. You're going to prosecute and for criminal facilitation in that way. You're talking about all the facts that are relevant. Okay, Tiffany Sherez, she wasn't just living at the crime scene. Oh, she'd like to engage in it more and more the more she got documented. The more she was documented, the more that demon demonstrated that malice, that ongoing intent to continue, that delusional and psychotic disregard for the rights of another in the face of knowledge that it's being done. All of this is relevant. You're monitoring. You know exactly what's being documented. Okay, the entity is engaging in this, and all of this is being communicated, and it's going to be used as an admission against the people. Okay, there's no sunlight that's touching on the properties that are along this hillside, especially while the entity is maintaining the sun through the window of 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. That's how you're going to use that. There's no sunlight that's touching that property. It's remaining not only present from the morning, but until the evening. And I went to the extent to document that. It's the unnatural environment, and it is an admission against the people, in addition to the hallmarks of what is not even natural sunlight. So this is why I go to the extent to show you, look at these little teeny tiny holes, and you've got the shadow of trees magnified in size on the wall. Yeah, that's an admission. You're going to prosecute the people for that. All right. And it's terrorism that they're engaging in. So they are admittedly engaging in the pattern of conduct. And that's a prosecution for a very serious sexually violent offense and terrorism. And you're going on a database maintained by the Department of Justice. Okay. And what else you did is going to determine if and how long you sit in federal prison. And that's not going to be avoided. This is how you're going to deter those that are in this country from engaging in what is terrorism, which is not welcome in the United States. It's not welcome. All right. It's currently 6:02 p.m. and this is P.O.C.